28th of July in the orchard, and I just want to say a bit about broken branches. This is an epicure tree, Laxton's epicure. It's carrying a good crop, but just there, unfortunately, there's a branch that's broken off. You can see it's a pretty decent amount of fruit there. Quite a few apples that won't be now gracing our market stalls because it snapped off. You can prevent branches breaking off by a number of means, partly by pruning. This is a good branch angle. Branches which come out at something like 90 degrees are good. Again, this is a good angle here. So these are good angles. This very upright angle here maybe isn't quite so good. The more acute, the sharper angles, more likely to break. This shows you what a heavy crop you can have on some of these trees. This actually is a very early apple, and we'll be picking this in about a week or so. And although these branches are so heavily weighed down there practically on the ground, we're mainly leaving these. These have been thinned. I just want to show you an apple of a variety, Kidd's Orange Red, where I fear the branch may break. Again, the open-centered bush. You can see it's carrying a very good crop. Kidd's Orange Red is a variety I've written about on my website, and it is a highly recommended variety. But you can see this branch here is bending over. It's a main branch. It's a good angle, but it's bowed down under a very heavy weight. Now I've counted the apples on here, and there are actually about 60 apples. They're a good size. These apples can grow to sort of 6 or 7 to a kilo, so we're talking about maybe 8 kilos, and I don't think this branch can take that. It may well crack. On the other hand, obviously, believe it or not, we do grow these trees in order to have fruit, so I'm not going to cut them all off, but I think I probably need to cut maybe 15 or 20% of these off. So I'm going to do that. It's often a good idea to lift the branch up. Careful now, look underneath. There were some blemished fruits there. That one's been chewed by a nasty little beetle we get swarms of in here. The apples which are underneath, you'll note, tend to be greener, and they don't colour up as well as the apples which are on top that get more sun. That's not critical, but most of us do prefer a more brightly coloured apple. So again, we're just looking underneath here, bearing in mind using a cantilever effect. Those fruits which are far at the end of the branch will exert a more powerful downward pull. This isn't what I'm normally doing, I'm sorry Julie's busy, I'm just filming one-handedly here. Again, these ones underneath. If you look underneath, you've often got more apples than you thought you had. There's 2 fruits there, one of them just a little bit misshapen, a little bit small. So not to worry, I'll take that off. A couple there, just rolling these off. You can snip them off with fine scissors, secateurs. I'm just going to take this whole group off. This is interesting, by the way. So this group obviously wasn't thinned, and you see they're considerably smaller than the apples which are near them. I'm just going to cut that off below a fruit bud. That may be enough. Maybe enough. I've just taken maybe 10. There's a few more here. This is a separate, different branch. Always looking for the fruits which are overcrowded, which are blemished, the ones which are underneath the tree where they don't colour up so well, and they're more prone to get fungal disease because of sort of reduced sunlight. So I think. That's probably a bit of apple scab there. Okay, so you might not see a lot of difference there, but I've reduced the pressure on that large branch there by maybe 15 or 20%. I just feel it's less likely to break, and we've got a heavy crop coming this year. We have had a number of large branches, quite a few medium-sized branches, and one whole tree, which admittedly did have a weakness at the rootstock union. one entire tree which has snapped off and broken down. So it's good, you know, so you've got a good crop, so you thank the Lord, look forward to that, we'll have plenty of apples. But if it's too big a crop, don't be greedy. Forgive me for labouring this message, but of all the things I've seen in fruit tree management, when you get a good crop, to not thin it or support the tree to prevent the weight of fruit breaking off branches is one of the most common errors, and it's one you can be looking forward to a really great crop. Go down one morning, 2 or 3 big branches have smashed off the tree and the tree's in a terrible mess. You've got to rescue it, and say if you'd taken off maybe a third of that crop that's on a heavy branch, then you'd have had 2/3 of it, or even half, whereas because you didn't thin when you should have done, you end up with none. So it's a lesson worth remembering.